In this video, we're going to be doing a little tour of the thunderpos.net site, which can be used with the cloud version of our software. It's a very multifaceted site. You can use it either standalone, and it has a register option that you can use if you have the license for that. Or you can use this if you're using a Windows-based or iPad-based register to manage the back office. For that reason, this video is primarily going to focus on those features that are common to all three of those approaches, but we will go over the register as part of this. So we're going to, just show the site off. This is kind of an overview video meant for people unfamiliar with our cloud offerings. And if you want more details, we do have videos on like specific topics that you can go see in a playlist that will be linked in the description down below. But this is going to give you a good little oversight of what the site can do. This is going to be focused primarily on a single store. There are additional features available if you have a multi-store enterprise set up with us. But for information on that, you'll want to check out the videos on that topic as well. So you can see I'm here on thunderpos.net. So a demo user of our site can select between several sample databases that just get reset nightly. There's not an option to have your own database for this because it is cloud-based, the way that you can use a Windows on-premise one. But you have several options for logging in as a demo. So if you go to the site yourself, you would be able to go to login here, and then you can check the box that says try our demo with a sample database, and you can select between the different types of databases. So for different stores, we have, options that include new and used. We have options that are only new. Even if one of these does not exactly match what you are, you could select that and work with the sample data that we have there. And just kind of extrapolate from that what your store would be like. So in addition to watching this video, I would encourage you to try out the site. We're adding new features to it very frequently, and everything you'll see here is current as of this recording, but there may be additional options available that are not open yet if you're watching this at some point in the future. So I am going to be logging in using not the demo database, but rather one of our own databases. If you watch the Windows demo video, this is actually the same database that is utilizing. And we're going to run through that together. So after logging in, you'll see a screen very similar to this one. There may be some slight differences depending on options that you have set, but I just want to run through the menu choices you have here because you do have a few different ways you can look at it. It obviously will also look very different on a phone device than it does on the desktop, but the menu contents will largely be the same. If we go along the top here, we do have some menus, and then in the view we're in now, also along the left, you have similar menus, although not all of them are here. Primarily, when I say that, the functions in the top right here are simply just in the top right. They're not available through the menu on the left, which we might as well start there. So if we take a quick look, you can see here that this will have recent activity that will show you what you have recently done on the site. The bell here, if you click that, will take you to notifications such as e-commerce orders that have come in. The links will link over to our other sites, like our primary marketing site, or to our licensing. And then if you go to the icon here, which you can change if you change your employee's picture in the employees section, you'll have a number of other options, including you can log out, you can change your password here, you can change the site appearance here. So if we select site appearance and then we want to say, we don't like that sidebar menu, we could go to there and say we just want the header version. So I'll say I want light header, for example, and you'll see that the sidebar goes away. I am actually going to turn the sidebar back on because that's what I am looking to show off here. And this is the default view for a desktop. But by default, that sidebar actually will be hidden on a mobile device because a mobile device simply doesn't have as much room. So you'll actually have a menu button at the top that you hit to bring up your menus. So along the menus on the side, you can navigate to different sections of the back office. These are also available along the top in a slightly different format. But most of them are available either under items or store functions. And then maintenance has things like your settings or your employees, which is the same as the maintenance section here. And then under help, we have links to our tutorials, to update notes so that you can see what's going on, and to YouTube videos. Obviously, that will include the video you are currently watching, but also other videos on other topics, both Windows and iPad, but also additional back office tutorials that may be a little more specific. So if we go within items, so any place that you see a little arrow here on this one, you can click and you'll get an additional menu. And then even within that, you'll get additional menus here. And then, the ones that don't have that, if you just click, for example, view items, you'll be taken to the items page. And the items is actually where we're going to start going into detail. So when we're viewing items here, we have the option to search for items through either quick search, or if you untoggle that, you can do more advanced searches where you can search by specific categories or departments or anything like that. We'll do a quick search here. If you hit the question mark here, it'll actually go over some details about this screen. Anywhere you see this question mark in the back office, that's true. And then you also have a link here where it will take you to the tutorial about items. So just be aware anytime you see a question mark button there that will pop up on screen help. If we wanted to add a new item, you just hit the green plus sign. That's true throughout the website. Anytime you see the green plus sign, that's going to be that's going to be a way to add whatever you're managing, like an item or a customer. And then finally, on this hamburger menu here, the 3 lines, that's going to appear on many screens. That's going to have more less used functions, things like printing labels for all these products or exporting it to a text file, for example, here. But just be aware that if you're looking to do something, that's one place to look on a lot of these screens. Another thing that's going to common beyond just items is the grid that you see here. You can, in addition to searching here, you can filter or sort by many of these fields. For example, if we wanted to sort by item ID 3, you can just click it, and then if you want to reverse the sort order, you can click it again, and you can see it's brought it to where the things at the top are those, alphabetically, that, Z and Y and the like for that particular field. So to the left here, we have actions, which will drop down and allow us to see various things about the items. So we could edit the item or view the details or change the item ID. If we go to that green plus, we're going to actually create a blank item. You'll see that here I have a number of settings for default values. Those can be changed through maintenance and then settings. They're store specific, so you'll fill them in however you would like. But it has generated a random item ID for us as well. So we can scroll down. You can kind of just see that we can fill in your quantity fields. You can fill in your pricing fields. We've actually got default values in for a lot of this stuff. So you've got both your new price and cost, which price is your selling price, cost is the cost to the store, and then used price and trade-in prices available. You've got options that you can set. So all of these fields correlate to ones in Windows or in the iPad. You can turn on serial numbered items. You can mark an item as being a pre-order. So all of this functionality is available here. If we go back to the item list here, instead of saving this item, you can also see if we go and edit one of these items, what that looks like. It's very similar. It's just you won't be able to edit the item number here. That'll appear up at the top. So primary item ID can only be changed through that change item ID function in Actions. You'll also notice that we have drop-down lists for department and category here. Department and category are ways of grouping your products for reporting and for other uses. If you want to add new departments or categories, or also to add new vendors, all of that is under items and then master lists along the side. So you can add departments, categories, vendors, and consigners here. For example, if we wanted to add a new department and we would go there, we would hit the green button, and then the only fields we have are an ID and a description. So we'll fill in the ID and description. And then if we go and we edit an item now that we have added that, we can just see that for department ID, we now have the sample department available. You'll notice we have to hit a change box here to change the quantity. That's based on the fact that we have audit quantity changes on. If we did not have audit quantity changes on, you could just change that freely. But instead, when you hit that, you're going to put in a reason that you're changing that quantity. And then that'll be available for a report. So these are kind of basic items. You can create rather more advanced functions like bundles or collectible copies or variant items, which is where you do things like different sizes of a t-shirt, for example. For more information on those, I would recommend going to videos that we have available on those topics in the playlist. But you can also go under data sources here. This is where you can access the various vendor databases that are available. So for example, a C for a record store, you could search for, the Rolling Stones here. And from there, you would be able to bring in products from that database, and you get your cover art and everything here. So pretty straightforward here. You would just import the item and it would bring it in, and then you can, you'll bring in the details that they had. And once you've saved the item, then you'll see that it brings in the cover art and everything too. You can add and remove cover art, so we can trash this cover art or edit the cover art that's available there if we wanted to. And then similarly, again, anytime you see that hamburger menu, so this is where you can manage things like instant purchase orders. You can delete the item from here on. This is the details page. If you go to actions, is a way you can get here without actually just editing the item. And then in a lot of cases, it doesn't look like in this one, but a lot of times for Discogs and for AAC, we will also get a track list that will get brought in. That's not always available, but when it is available, that will be brought in as well. So any changes you make here will immediately be reflected elsewhere. It's a shared database if you're using this with a Windows or iPad use. So if you make a price change, it'll take effect right away for your store. If it's already on the transaction, they may have to re-add it, remove it, and re-add it to get that to reflect. But otherwise, as soon as they add it, it's going to have whatever updates you make to it. So it can be very useful, especially if you're on your phone and you're out of the store and you need to make a adjustment. The back office site can be very powerful for that sort of situation if you're using a cloud database, even if you're not using the back office register. We are going to go over the back office register here shortly, but before that, we're going to go through a couple of other things here, starting with customers. To manage customers here, it's very similar to items. So you do have your search here. You can do an advanced search by, much more specific fields such as total amount sold to them or an account balance or that kind of thing. Or you can just do the quick search of like the customer ID and first and last name and company and all of that. Again, there is a question mark here, so you can get pop-up help. Um, Again, the hamburger menu here has, specific options to customers, both with customers and items. One that I will mention here is the grid layout, that you can customize what fields are available in that grid below. So if you don't need things like the company, you could take them off, or you could reorder them, or you can add fields that are not shown by default about customers. So to do that, like I'll just show that you can click here, you can actually rearrange them just by dragging and dropping, or you can add fields from here. And then when you're done, you would just hit save at the bottom. I'm going to cancel that for the moment though. If we go to actions here, you can see that it's very similar. We have the details. You can change a customer ID. You can do account transactions, um, you know, or you can print a label. So if we go and we want to add a customer here, we can go to add. But it is worth mentioning here that to edit a customer is a little bit different. There's not an edit screen. Instead, you go to the details here, and it's going to show you a card about the customer. So you'll see the picture, and you can go to particular sections of the customer's information and edit by just hitting the pencil here. You can also, again, you can hit the hamburger menu here for a variety of options here related to deleting the customer, to adjusting their rewards points balance, changing or deleting the picture from them, all of that kind of stuff. So you're going to want to set your customers up if you're going to ever use them for anything like rentals, like customer related promotions, for special orders and pre-orders, or for tracking account balances. You can also simply use them for tracking who you've sold what to, which can be a big deal. So I would really recommend you can, if we want to go in here, we can take a look at, the wish list on a customer, which is items that they want to purchase. This really adds a lot of tracking power and reporting power to your transactions. You don't have to use customers if you're not using one of the features where it's mandatory, like special orders. But if you just sell to the walk-in customer, you're going to have a harder time, reaching out to your customers to try and sell them more things, to try and, promote coming back to the store to do rewards points or any kind of loyalty thing you won't have available. So we really recommend you familiarize yourself with the customers section of the software, and that you start to use them if you have any interest at all in that kind of thing. If you're in kind of a tourist area and you're not expecting repeat customers or anything, then perhaps you would not utilize it, but most of our stores are going to want to use your customers section. So if we go down here and we want to add a customer, and you'll just fill in an ID here, and then first and last name are mandatory, but nothing else is. We'll just set one up for me here. And then you can see along the top here, we've got little tabs that you can click over to and fill in. So it's sort of similar to items. It is a little bit different, but you'll just fill that in. You can set up, their account levels and everything. And then once you've created them, and if we save them, it's going to take us to this view. But then if we do a quick search here for me and find that one, I'm in here a lot of times, but then you can go to details and edit it from there if you choose to. One other thing I do want to show here is, and we're going to do this through a purchase order, but it's common throughout the software. Anytime you see that a item ID or a customer ID is a link, most likely you can click it. So for example, in this purchase order, we can see this item ID. If you click it here, you'll get the details along the right-hand side. And this also happens with customers. and you can see the details, but also if you have the pencil here, you can edit the details. So if you click that there, it'll go into edit mode and you can edit many of the more common fields. You cannot change every aspect of an item because obviously that there's quite a lot there, but you can edit, the things you would most commonly want to change about an item. And then you would just hit save either at the top here with this disk or at the bottom with the button to save your changes. You can also, for items, view the history of that item. So if you click that right there, you can see really quickly your, purchase order history and your sales history in recent times. So, this is a quick way you can get your details of an item or of customers anywhere that would be relevant. So that's true in a lot of places, purchase orders and vendor returns. You'll see it at the register. I'm showing it on a purchase order here. I'm not going to go over purchase orders in full in this demonstration. But if you want to see more about purchase orders generally, then check our video on that topic. But I did want to, before we get into the register here, go ahead and just cover that really quickly because I think it is not maybe something people would notice otherwise, and I think it's incredibly useful within the back office. So to get to the register in back office, it's just register on the left, or if you go to store functions and then register. Note that these menu options will only appear if you have at least one license for a register. You must have a license per concurrent back office register you're wanting. So if you're using the Windows register for all your licenses, you will not be able to see the register in the back office. You can mix and match between them, but you would just need a license for that through sales for every one that you want. So, assuming you have at least one, you would just go to register. It will allow you to select between them, and then you would proceed in. But once you're here, you can scan items through item ID, same as you would, on any other register, or you can quick search or advanced search. So if we do an advanced search, it's going to take us to a separate screen where you can do, a full search here or do a quick search within this. It's very similar to the item screen that we already went over. If you do a quick search instead, it's going to pop it up in a box here on the side, and you can just do a quick search here. So for example, if we searched for Madden, it's going to give us the top 10 results. You can page between next and previous. It's worth mentioning for quick searches, and this is true throughout, that you can search by name or description within that. You can also search for, say, Madden space PS4, and it's going to search the description, the department and category, as well as the name. So let's say we want to sell this one. So we'll say we want to sell it new. It's going to warn us because we're out of stock. So I'm actually going to cancel there, and we'll actually do this top one, which is in stock instead. So you'll see it pops up and says item added. If we just click out there and scroll down, we can see that we now have the item on here. We can see that we're getting a 20% off promotion. If we click the price here, it's going to pop up and tell us more information about that product. It's going to tell us that the base price is $30.99 and that we're then getting 20% off, which brings the price down to $24.79. And that right now we have 1 in stock new and 0 in stock used. That's prior to selling this copy. Of course, once we sell this, it's going to go out of stock. So other key things on the screen here, you can of course select here when you're getting ready to scan for whether you want to do used or trade-ins. You can select the condition and whether it's a cash or credit trade. And you can go to actions here and it will pop up a list of more advanced functions you can do, which cover, many of the same things as in Windows or in the iPad. But some of these are specific to the back office because they affect the appearance here, like whether you're showing the item grid or the touch items. You can return rentals from here. You can, do repairs or special orders from here. You can suspend and recall transactions. You can sell gift cards or miscellaneous items. So all of these are similar functions to what exist elsewhere. But if we go, for example, if we want to sell an item that is not in our inventory, there's a miscellaneous item, we just hit actions and misc item, and then we can just fill in that, for example, we want to do a test item here. We'll say it's the cost is the cost to the store, and the price is our selling price. And then we would just have to indicate, the quantity and our taxation. So then we tax one it, and we'll add it here, and you'll see it'll go on the invoice right here. You can, as an option in settings, we're not going to go through every option. There is a video or a series of videos actually that do that. But you can select whether the most recent items you've added to the invoice appear at the top or at the bottom. Right now, this one is set to show it at the top. But we'll say this is all we're going to add at the moment. So to complete the transaction out, we would just hit complete transaction. And then we can select the payment type. I'm just going to select cash here for the moment. And we're going to close it out. And then if we wanted to get a receipt for that, if you're using a compatible Epson printer, we do have an option where it'll automatically print out the receipt to that receipt printer. If you're not using that, then you can go to actions, and then it will under the download last receipt or email last receipt, will allow you to either download the file or email it. And that should take care of that. You can select a lot of options related to that are available through settings. You can also select, of course, your customer here that you're utilizing. Similarly, you've got a quick search available here. So if we do a search for Jeremy, we can find the one here earlier that we added, the 943, and select it. You can see it's selected. And again, similar to items, you can click it there and it's going to take you to that customer where you can then do editing. But if we go back to the register here, you can see if we leave the register, let's go ahead and add an item on here. So we've also got some touch groups that we have set up that will just let us sell items that are here. I don't know which of these might be in stock, so I'm going to just do a quick search instead. We'll do Madden once again, just to get an item onto the grid. You can select whether you're allowed to sell items that are in stock or that are out of stock or not. I searched for customers. That's my mistake. Quick search for items. And search again here. So let me just find something that is in stock to sell so that we've got at least one item on here. So then we can select under actions that we want to suspend this transaction and recall it. But also if we just leave the register, like if we click to another section of the back office site and then click back into the register and take a look at it, you'll see that the transaction stays there. It only goes away if you actually were to cancel it or suspend it. It would not just vanish otherwise, and that's just a difference in how the back office register works versus like Windows, where you have to close out the transaction before you leave the register, because obviously you could just close your web browser and walk away. But if you do that and you have a transaction in process, it's still going to be there when you get back. You'll have to cancel it or complete it at that time. So that's kind of the basics of the register. For full information, we do have videos on the topic, but we're going to close that out here and go look at some of our reporting. So we are looking at the reports section of the thunderpos.net site. And if you take a look here, you can see that we've got, sales reports and item reports and transaction reports, all different types of reports here. We're going to just take a quick look at a few different types of these reports, but reporting is one of the really powerful things you get here, especially if you're not using the register in back office. Like if you're using back office to supplement a iPad or Windows setup, then this is going to get you the ability to do these reports from your phone or when you're traveling or anytime you're outside of your store, so that you can keep an eye on what's going on in your store, what kind of activity is happening, how your store is doing in your absence. It also will allow you to do these sorts of things, without remaining physically at the store. So you can check in on the store while you are at home, instead of having to necessarily do all of your reporting, at the end of the day if you are, still working in your store. So if you go here to sales totals, for example, this is the equivalent of the sales totals report within Windows. So if we take a look here, there are options and everything. We can export it and all of that, but our net sales and our taxes and everything will show here. This will have the transactions we did earlier. Um, you know, Virtually every report that is in the back office can be exported. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them can be exported to either PDF or Excel. Sometimes if there's not enough space, then they'll be PDF only, or if they're not a report that makes sense for Excel, they may not be available in Excel. But, typically speaking, like if we just look at let's just pick a report out here. Like if we look at our rewards points balances, just as an example, on many of the reports it's available. If you click the hamburger link in the top right, then you can download it as an Excel document or as a PDF. And for the vast majority of reports, they're available as both. Also for reports, you can, of course, on the grid, reorder here when that's available by just clicking. That's true in the same way that it is elsewhere in the back office. So just on different reports, I'm just going to click around between a few different ones. You'll have different filters available. For example, for serial numbers, you can just look for a specific serial number or item ID, or you can look within a full date range. Let's just do that. So we'll just look for basically all time effectively. And you get your different serial numbers and the customer who purchased it and all of that. We're not going to run through every report here, but in general, you're going to look under sales for your sales totals, or sales broken out by category. So sales by's got a bunch of different ones for different category, department, employees. So you can break out your sales in a bunch of different ways. But if you're looking for like item by item sales, that's going to be under item reports. So for example, your top seller report will show you the items that you're selling the most of. Um, you know, we're not going to run over each and every individual report, but it's worth just mentioning a few things here that report data is available all time for your store. So once you've made a sale or whatever, then it's going to be available in reports carrying forward. The only exception is just that when you run your inventory level reports and that kind of thing, those are based off of your current inventory. There's not a selection of a date range. So you'll need to make sure you run those, when you're needing them. We do log the inventory value over time, but that's only done every so often. So if you're running just inventory value, the inventory value report here instead of the log, then that's going to just show you the current inventory value. So if we click there, that's just the current value. If we go under other reports here, for example, we've got our employee hours worked, repairs. There's just a million different reports here available for you in the back office. I would recommend kind of going through those, finding the ones that you would find the most useful for your business. If you have questions about reports that are available after watching this video or about watching our reports videos, then give us a call. We're happy to always discuss this with leads or with supported users, and to take a look. But if you're an enterprise user, you would have chain reports here available as well. I'm not going to go into depth on that, but that should appear just below other reports. You would have options for chain reports. So again, if you're managing multiple stores, this is even more useful because you can manage all of your stores from anywhere. So that's kind of a brief overview of thunderpos.net. Obviously, I'm not getting into every aspect of the site, but if you want to try it out for yourself, you're welcome to do so. All you have to do is, from whatever device you want to try it on, from your phone or a tablet or your computer, just go to thunderpos.net and you can select to use one of our demo databases and give it a try. Like I've said earlier, data within those demo databases does get reset on a daily basis. So don't like try to put anything in there you intend to keep, because it'll get lost the next day. But if you have any questions, if you're ending up wanting to subscribe, you can follow those links. You can also talk to us. We're more than happy to discuss that, to show in depth, any personalized questions you may have about how a certain feature would work for your store. We're happy to answer. You can reach out to support at 919-387-7597, extension 101. Sales is the same phone number, 919-387-7597, extension 100 instead, so 100 instead of 101. You can also reach out through email to sales@extremepos.com or to support@thunderpos.com. We will be happy to help you out with all of that, and you just can get this going, or you can get a demo of the Windows register going, or we're happy to help you with getting the demo of the iPad going. So, the demo of the Windows version uses on-premise data versus cloud. So you won't have your own data on this website if you're using that, but you can at least see how all the pieces work. And then, when you're ready, you can subscribe and we'll be able to pull them all together. But we hope this video helps out. If you're interested in more on specific topics, take a look at the other videos in this playlist.